Yeah.
All right, are we good?
Yep, we're good.
All right, this is Dylan.
And this is Matt.
We are from the band Catharia.
And you're listening to Underground Noise Webzine.
What's up, Matt? What's up, Dylan? Welcome back to the podcast. Good to have you guys back.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, looking
Yeah,
forward to it for a while. Yeah.
it's been about 2.5 years since we saw you last.
Yeah, not much has changed. The goatee just gets longer, then it gets shaved off, then it gets longer again. That's how it goes. Yeah, you guys are webisode number 157. It's good to have you guys here. I want to talk a little bit about your new album, Unimaginable Dreams of Fate. What an
Yeah.
interesting name. How'd you come up with that one?
That was actually a former member of Aria that came up with that. I'm not entirely sure how he came up with it, but he thought it was a song title and it kind of stuck. And after, Midnight Sun was recorded, we decided to name the next album Unimaginable Dreams of Fate. So I thought it sounded cool. I really like cool sounding song titles. So.
I do have a fun add-in about the title.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so when I first joined the band, there were already T-shirts that said "Unimaginable Dreams of Fate," even though nothing had been recorded for that album yet, and maybe only a couple songs have been written for it. So this album's been cooking for a long. The title, at least, has been cooking for a long time. I mean, shirts made before the album even exists. I mean, that's something. I don't know if you'd call it ambitious or what, but just a fun side note about the title.
Yeah, I really like this album. I don't know if Matt told you, but I gave you guys 9.5 horns out of 10.
Yeah, that's an honor. I don't know if I'd give it that many.
Well,
I sure appreciate it.
for being black metal, I don't listen to a lot of it myself, but there's some bands that move me, and your band is one that actually does that for me. So thank you for that.
That's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Awesome.
we have.
and it was funny because I was telling Dylan before you joined, Matt, that when I opened it up and I was just reading all the credit work, I get to the special things list and my jaw just hits the floor. I'm like, damn, what an honor to be mentioned first. That never happens. Well, it happened. So thank you for that.
It, yeah, well, you've supported us from day one. I love talking to you, man, and you've always been super supportive of Catharia and the band. So it always seemed fitting and right.
Yeah, I think you were the very first video interview we ever did, if I'm not mistaken.
I
Yeah,
think you're right about that because I might have asked you guys that before the end of it because that's usually a question that I'll throw out there sometimes. But here I am supporting Midnight Sun right now, as you can see.
right on. Yeah, appreciate your support. I really do.
And I appreciate your support too, man. Wholeheartedly, man. That's what metal should be about. People coming together, not separating.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. It's all about the brotherhood.
That's right. There's too much nonsense going around and people aren't doing it right sometimes, it seems.
Seems like there's a lot of competition between bands for sure. Um, it's the way it's always been. I don't know, but I don't get into that stuff. It's here for the music to create good albums. You know,
Mhm.
I'd much rather get along with everybody than feud with anybody. So
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I got a song that's going to piss people off, but it's going to make a lot of people happy at the same time. So I'm looking forward to releasing that pretty soon.
yeah.
But I have to ask you guys, what song stood out to be your favorite off this album? Because personally speaking, I like the song Solemnly, and I also like Terminus. I don't know what the next word is.
It's
Hyro.
Hierophant.
I was pretty close. I was thinking Hierophant, kind of like elephant, but
You want to go first, Matt? What's your
Yeah, yeah.
two off
Um,
there?
it's kind of one of those things that's like any other album I played on. Like when it first is released or whatever, like you'll have your favorite songs, maybe one or two or whatever. But with time, sometimes that changes. Um, I'd say at the moment, Slipping into Eternity is actually one that I've been listening to a lot, and it was something that I didn't listen to as much when the album first dropped or whatever. But yeah, probably Slipping into Eternity and Solemnly are probably my favorite two on there. I like Hierophant a lot, like Devouring Firmament a lot, but if I had to pick just two, those would be probably the two that um, I'm most proud of and I've been listening to the most still, as of this moment anyway. That might change in the future. About you, Dylan?
So let's see. Was the question one track or two?
Which song or songs did you find to
Okay.
be your favorite off this
Uh,
new album?
so I probably haven't listened to the album in 2 or 3 months now. I got kind of burnt out. I mean, it takes a long time to make a record. And right now I'm just full speed ahead on writing the third one and probably the fourth one. I really think we're going to end up with a double next time, but we can cover that later. I got the CD here to refresh me on what songs are on this album. I would say Devouring Firmament or probably Solemnly as well. Maybe Screaming Cemetery. Um, Slipping into Eternity. Oh, man, that one was difficult as far as the recording goes. Like that's one that we just had to wait to hear the final mix to see if it turned out the way we intended or not, because that one's so much different than anything else on here. It has so many different layers of effects and guitar and such on it that by the end it was tough to render down demos to send back and forth. It's got such a different sound, probably more cosmic, I guess you could call it. But yeah, I have a love hate with Slipping into Eternity just because of the recording process of that song. Some days I might say that's one of my top couple of songs on here, but I think for my final answer today, I will say Devouring Firmament and Solemnly.
Very awesome. Very awesome. I think they're pretty decent myself, actually. Man, I have to hand it to you, man. Listening to Elephant Tanzan, the instrumental. If I'm not mistaken, it's got like this ambient atmospheric type of sound, and if you're not careful, you might get hypnotized by it.
Yeah, they used a lot of reverb on it, and that was actually played with an acoustic guitar instead of an electric. No effects as far as like making um, an electric guitar sound like an acoustic. It was actually recorded on an acoustic, and then we just had a crap ton of reverb to it.
Yeah, we didn't even. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, yeah. I mean, that's really it. It's just an acoustic guitar with a ton of reverb, which I love reverb, especially on anything clean. you know, I use it for distortion too, but yeah, it turned out really well. I was maybe even a little bit surprised how well it turned out. So a lot of people like it. Well, thank you though.
You're welcome. I have to admit, though, personally speaking, I'm not a reverb person. I can't stand it. But if you can make it work and it sounds decent enough, then hey, go with it.
It's a very ambient sound. It kind of sounded like that it was recorded in a cave or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe a big hall or something.
I mean, at least it came out clean sounding, not like you're muffled in a tunnel and it sounds all muddy as hell, kind of like how
Right.
some do with distortion, you
Yeah.
know? And it's real sludgy. It's like, what the hell's the point of this? I can't listen to that. Some of it's good though.
Yeah, I think that it probably fits a little bit better into genres like black metal, using a lot of reverb because it's gives it that much more ambient feel. Um, I didn't use it much when I played just regular heavy metal or death metal so much. That was mostly just straight distortion. But um, with Catharia, we've used a lot of reverb.
Yeah, reverb's good for some stuff, but I like how you guys, can present it because one minute you guys just sound like Demi Borgir, the next minute it sounds like Cradle of Filth screaming, because you guys got that ambient keyboard going on like an organ kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, we didn't use quite as much keyboard stuff on Unimaginable Dreams of Fate as we did with Midnight Sun, but I think album three is going to have a lot more keys on it. We're maybe heading in a slightly more symphonic direction. And it's funny you mentioned Cradle of Filth. I think some of the newer stuff will probably sound instrumentally, anyways, like Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, especially the screaming. The screaming is really scathing sounding, kind of like a
Yeah,
Fry scream in a way, if you know what I mean, like the Fry scream. I kind of use that scream myself at times, but every now and again, I'm just like, do I really want to use that? I don't know, but
Yeah,
everyone
that's one of Nick's favorite groups.
Cradle,
Yeah.
that's cool. I have to tell you, Dylan, I'm really digging that Full Terror Assault banner in your background.
Oh yeah, I have a good story about that.
You
Uh,
want
so that rest in peace, Full Terror Assault. First of all, last year was their final year, but I've been going for. I went for 5 out of the 9 years, but this is for my first time going, and I actually won that in a King Diamond sing-alike contest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was just I had no idea the contest was going to happen. They just announced it, and I was in the crowd, and I climbed up on stage and competed right then and there. No practice. It's probably a little drunk too, but they turned out really good, and that was the prize, and it's the only one in existence. That one is announcing that Thursday's bands. It's got let's see who. It's got Cataclysm and Exhorter and Morbid Saint, all kinds of good stuff on there.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I won it with my voice.
I got a buddy that went to Full Terror Assault all the time. His name is Rick.
Rick. I might have met him, but I might have been drinking.
Yeah.
I think I met a couple of Ricks while I was there. If I saw a picture, I'd probably tell you if I knew him or not, because it was a lot of the same faces every year. But that was, I don't know what I'm going to do this year. That was my getaway. That was my escape every year. I would look forward to taking a week off in the fall and going to FTA, and that was my ritual. And now I got to find something else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was one of the vendors, but not exactly 100%.
Do you know what he was a vendor of?
Edibles.
Well,
Edibles.
they really only started selling those in the last couple of years they had. So maybe I didn't end up crossing paths with him, but
Yeah, he's
yeah,
cool. Real cool guy.
nothing else like Full Terror Assault in the US. You got to go to Europe to get that kind of experience now.
Yeah,
So
like Brutal Assault or Whacking or Bloodstock.
yeah, sad it's gone, but it was good going.
Let me ask you guys, Matt, you guys have any upcoming shows?
Not currently, no. Definitely wanting to play live shows again. I mean, this seems like everybody's working a lot at the moment. The last show we played was at the Melody Inn here in Indianapolis. We could call it Indy. But right now, we don't have any shows lined up. We're really just focusing on album three and finishing the songwriting for it. We've got quite a few songs that are somewhere between probably 50 to 90% done. It's just finishing the songwriting process for what we already have. And then, of course, we've got Michael now, too, our drummer. He'll be playing on the next one. And, he's got to write drum parts. I've got to finish up writing some guitar parts, whether it be rhythm parts or lead parts. Dylan's, I think, got the same thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be doing I should be doing guitar on every song on the next one.
That sounds like it's going to be fun, Dylan.
It was for a spell there from like December to January. I wrote 7 or 8 songs and then it just kind of dried up. So I hope it comes back.
You ever tried dabbling with any other instruments?
I mean, I play guitar and bass and Actually, yeah, that's a good kind of segue into our next album. So this next album, we're going to have a lot wider variety of instruments. I mean, Matt is planning on bringing back the acoustic guitar, but I think he's also going to do some nylon string guitar. I have a 12-string acoustic that I'm just absolutely in love with. I've used that a ton already on just the demos. I picked up an electric mandolin. I've been learning how to do like some medieval spooky sounding stuff on there. Going to try to fit that in somewhere. And then at a thrift store, my wife found this mystery instrument that we couldn't identify. So I took it to the local guitar shop, and they spent quite a bit of time with it, but eventually figured out that it is a Lebanese lute oud. And I wish I had it down here to show you it, but just think a really small lute. It has writing inside of it in Arabic, but it's a dialect from like 200 years ago. So we don't know exactly how old this thing is, but I'm dying to use it on this record, on this next one.
I can only imagine that's going to be like,
Oh, and then keys, of course. If I didn't say that already, me and Matt are both trying to get a lot better at keys. I think he's doing a lot better at that than I am right now. I can only play well with one hand at a time, which I guess is fine for recording, but I could never sit down and replicate stuff. I mean, if I can't master using both. Then we're also going to have some fretless bass. So yeah, we're going to have a huge variety of instruments on this next one.
It's funny mentioning so many different kinds of instruments. Have you ever heard of a hurdy-gurdy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of one, yeah.
The one you wind up?
Yep. And it's got keys on it. It's got strings too. The band Elevate uses that.
What's the
Oh, that's
band?
cool.
Elevating, or however it's pronounced. I'm not exactly 100%. But they're kind of like, they got some songs that are metal, but they got some that are like folk related. And they're actually really cool.
We wrote another instrumental. What Dylan and I have been talking about is maybe going for kind of a more medieval folk sound. And maybe using mandolin on it, acoustic guitar. That's just one of those things, though, we've talked about and would like to do, hopefully in the future.
What about a harp?
I've been looking
Harp
at
would be a harp would be really cool. I don't personally play harp, but I did see on YouTube there was a YouTuber that she plays harp. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, and she was running the harp into an amp, and she was using all these different pedals, and it just sounded amazing. I mean, it sounded so cool, especially she was using reverb pedals. And I don't know, it was just a very unique sound that I really did like. But yeah, it'd be cool to learn harp and have some on an album one day, maybe.
One of my favorite harpists of all time is Andreas Vollenweider.
That's quite a name.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got an album called Cryptos with a song called Under the Trees of Hope. And that song right there is just magnificent.
Hmm. Definitely look at that, yeah.
That way you can check it out and let me know what you think of it. It's
I will definitely. I will definitely check it out. Yeah.
cool. Very cool. You guys got any upcoming plans for the rest of this week?
Don't all go at once.
Yeah.
You can go first.
No, not for this week. No. I'm just go back to work tomorrow night, and that'll be my week pretty much for the rest of this week. We are going to try to get together next month, though. Or I should say at the end of this month.
Yeah, it's April already. We're going to the Viking Festival.
That's brutal. Where's that at?
Whitestown, Indiana.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Just north of Indianapolis. It's a kind of festival they have up there every year. I guess it's kind of like a Renaissance fair, but I've never actually been to a Renaissance fair. Dylan has multiple times, but it's basically like that. They've got turkey legs and
A very
lots of
light.
things with swords and stuff.
That sounds exciting. A
Yeah,
little medieval time type stuff, right?
yeah, yeah.
I don't really understand why Whitestown is even where it is, because Whitestown's not really like a historic place. Like it's really only kind of exploded in the last few years. It's all just McMansions and internet retailer warehouses. And right in the middle of all that, there's a tiny public park, and that's where they hold the Viking Festival. So looking at your setting there, I wouldn't think, hey, this reminds me of Vikings, but it works. I mean, the place is packed every year.
I can only imagine what that would be like. How long does this festival go on for? Like a couple of days or more?
I think
3 days. Yeah, Friday through Sunday. That's the Friday through Sunday at the end of the month of April this year.
That's awesome. Yeah, 9 more days, you guys. I'll be celebrating 46 years of life.
Happy early birthday.
yeah, happy early birthday. I was trying to think of what the inverse of belated was. I didn't think about just saying happy early birthday. I'm feeling kind of tired. I got a smoker recently, and I smoked some chuck roast for dinner tonight, but eating that was a mistake. Now I'm ready to pass out.
The food coma, someone's guilty.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through right now. As far as plans for the week, for me, that's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Staying home. Tomorrow is supposed to be terrible. They're talking about tornadoes and apple-sized hail, and the works. I mean,
Wow.
I'm taking it seriously now. A couple weeks ago, I used to never take the storms around here seriously because it's just kind of something you get used to growing up in the Midwest. But I sat out on my porch just watching the storm, smoking, and out of nowhere the sky turned completely black, and it was bad. Like, it got bad really quickly. But I came to find out that a tornado actually touched down a few miles from my house during that moment. And there I was, not even taking it seriously, just watching it go by from my front porch. And that tornado actually hit my uncle's farm. So I spent the next day out there helping clean up and everything. But yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be some of the worst spring weather yet here in the southern part of the state. Matt lives up north, but so he should be fine. But for me, I'm just staying home. I'm trying to stay prepared, and got generator, got food, water, flashlights, all that stuff.
Just don't go outside, Dylan. Don't go outside.
Yeah,
That's worth it, man.
I don't know. I didn't think it was going to be anything terrible, but I guess it was.
You would need an umbrella made out of plastic, like really hard plastic, so that way the hail doesn't go right through it and clunks you in the head. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, I felt that one.
Yeah, I mean, one good thing came out of the weather this week, though. Me and my wife, we can finally use our garage. It's been like a storage unit since we moved in a few years ago. And when we heard apple-sized hail coming, we cleaned it out completely in one weekend. Tons of trips to the dump and to Goodwill and stuff. And now I got 2 vehicles in there. So
I don't mean to laugh, man, but that's funny.
yeah, it's a motivator. Apple-sized hail, that's ridiculous. I've never even seen some that big.
Yeah, have you ever seen hail that big, Matt?
No, I don't think so. I think probably the biggest I've seen is probably maybe golf ball size. Seen that a few times here, but not that big. No, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's insane.
Yeah, we all live an hour apart in the band, so we all kind of, when a storm comes, it might only hit one of us because they're so spread out.
Well, I was going to say, Dylan, if you get a chance to run outside, grab a piece of hail and take a picture of it.
Is that not very common down in Georgia?
I'm not really sure. All I do know is that it hailed here the one time that I can remember exactly. may have held a couple of times actually, but it was funny because the one time it did hail, it was probably about like that big, about maybe half an inch, 3/4 of an inch. Nothing too serious. But I've only got a few minutes left with you guys tonight, but I just wanted
Okay.
to thanks for coming back on. One
Yeah.
last, I got two last questions real quick.
All right.
Let me ask this real quick. How long did it take to make the album completed?
Uh, it depends by what metric. Do you have something in mind, Matt?
Just by saying like the
Uh,
whole final product.
as far as the recording goes, I'm trying to remember how long it took us to actually get the recordings done. I know we started in October of
22.
yeah.
And then we were
I remember
done
those.
by the spring of 24, I believe.
That sounds about right. I remember, of course, going up to Jackson's to record Tomb Throne. And I think that was the beginning of it. Revocation of Life was an older song. That was actually one of the first black metal songs I ever wrote a very long time ago, like back in 2014 or whatever. Back, yeah, real long time ago. But yeah, as far as the actual recording process goes, I think it was probably from October of 22, like you said, up until probably spring of 24. And then we initially released it ourselves. And then we decided to Rock Shots Records, which released it on December 6th. Pretty sure it's December 6th of 2024.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it was only out independently for a really short time and nobody really noticed. And then it was revoked. It was pulled off the shelves and, well, the digital shelves. We hadn't made physical copies yet, but yeah, it was pulled and then re-released slash released by Rock Shots.
Yeah, it's definitely a real ripper, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm happy that it was able to attract the right kind of attention. Uh, we've gained all kinds of listeners through this album, and we ended up with a few different record deals on the table. And this is the one we chose. We're hoping they'll have us back, or somebody will have us back, because our current record deal is just for this one and for Midnight Suns. So we still need to shop around and figure out what's going to happen with the third and fourth album. But very hopeful they'll get at least the same kind of traction.
I hope
I want to
so.
mention, Alexander, that on the label Rock Shots, there's another band called I'm not butchering the name, Triglav or Triglav or Triglav.
Tree Glove, I think.
Is it Triglav?
I think it's pronounced tree. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a dude that's basically a one man black metal band. He does play live shows with session musicians. But he has a YouTube channel where he goes all across Norway and looks at all the sites of the early second wave black metal scene from the 90s. Like he just made a video of where Euronymous' apartment was there in Oslo. But he's always got all these cool videos, and I think he also does like horror movie reviews and stuff like that. He's got a couple of channels on YouTube, but his project is also signed with the same label. I'd recommend checking it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely will. As you guys know, this is my final question. Got any last words for Underground Noise Webzine?
I just want to say thank you for your constant support and for being a good dude. You're definitely consider you my friend too, not just somebody that we do YouTube interviews with or whatever. We've gotten to be pretty close. We talk quite a bit, so just want to say thank you for that.
I thank you as well. You're most welcome.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
I'd pretty much say the same. Yeah, I'd pretty much say the same. Just, thank you for doing this for us. It's really cool for me, in particular to bookend my time so far with interviews with you, because that last interview I did with you was like a month after I joined this band, and there were already so many firsts for me. It was my first time going to a recording studio, my first time getting a video interview like this, and now here we are a few years later, and I've got got the record in my hand here, and it's the first full length one that I've gotten to play on, and I am doing another interview with you. So bookends for the whole thing so far, and hopefully we'll meet back up with you after the next one, and we can get another 9.5 horns from you.
Well, maybe it'll be 10 by then. You never know.
I sure
Maybe.
hope so. As I've been writing for this next album, the only thing I'm thinking is, man, this needs to kick the second album's ass. I mean, we need that's how
That's
you
what
got to
every
keep.
musician wants. They always want the next album to be better than their last one.
Yeah.
But never forget, Dylan, there's never enough music, and keep your horns up for metal, death metal, black metal, any kind of metal that's out there. As long as it's not deathcore.
I think Nick would disagree.
Well, who knows?